Hey there, an article came out the other day, and it was about Uber drivers, and it was trying to say that Uber drivers are making right at or close to the minimum wage, and wanted to. When I did season one of this series, I did show that yes, it is true. You're making close to minimum wage when you're doing driving for Uber, but here we are 2 years later, and I've been driving now for about going on 2 weeks, and collecting data the whole time. And so I wanted to share with you what I've got so far, and I'll do that right here. Um, Here's my chart, and as you can see, not every day is the same, but what I've done is I've averaged it out, and looking at average time spent per day, average miles driven per day, things like that, as well as cost per mile. Now note what this, big caveat, big asterisk, what this does not cover is the expenses, right? I'm driving an SUV now. It sucks gas. It gets 12 miles a gallon. So big expenses go against this. However, look at the average hourly rate. Now, this is hourly rate gross, not net, because I haven't taken the expenses out. But look at that fluctuating from day to day. I mean, I had one day a couple days ago where I was out for 4 or 5 hours there and made $3. That's horrible. That's like, pack it up, go home. But just yesterday, I made $25 an hour. And it was a Saturday here in St. Louis. The weather was nice. There were a bunch of weddings going on. There was an Oktoberfest thing going on downtown. And I only drive during the day. I know you can make much more money if you drive at night and pick up people from bars and things like that, but that's not my gig. I drive during the day because that's when my eyesight is best. But I was pretty busy. I don't think I stopped for more than 5 minutes, parked anywhere to wait for the next ping. I was just going and going and going, and it was great. I was very happy, and 6:15, 6:30 came around, and the sun was down. I had to shut the machine off because it just kept trying to pull rides in. And as much as I wanted the money, I did not want to risk driving at night. But that being said, it fluctuates and varies. These are the numbers. This is the data so far. Take a look at it. Now you'll see that the average hourly rate is in the state of Missouri. The minimum wage, I believe, is $7.80 an hour. So we're here around $11 and something here, $11 and change. So it's higher than the minimum wage here in Missouri. Might be lower than the minimum wage where you are. But again, your mileage may vary. It depends on the market you're in. It depends on, how saturated the market is. I've noticed as I've asked my passengers, again, here 2 years later, most of them are not from St. Louis, or they've just moved here from a bigger municipality that's got, Uber and has had Uber for years. Uber's never marketed once in St. Louis. There's never been a radio spot or a billboard or a TV ad or a full page thing in the newspaper. They've never once marketed that, hey, we exist and we're in St. Louis, which is odd to me. So the only people I get are people from out of town, people that came from other cities, or they're in college at Washington University or what have you. I did notice for the first time a Lyft billboard. As I was driving back from downtown St. Louis, I saw a billboard for Lyft. There we go. So at least Lyft is trying to let people know they exist, and I'm curious. I'm not going to sign up for Lyft and start driving for them because that's just too much brain damage to try to keep a hold of. Plus, it taints the data a little bit. I'm trying to study Uber right now in St. Louis. At one point, I might turn off Uber, turn on Lyft, and study the difference between Uber and Lyft, but today's not that day. So anyhow, I wanted to share with you my numbers and show you that it is possible to make more than minimum wage on average, but your mileage may vary. On Mondays, I'm just not going to drive on Mondays because it's just I'm sorry, not Mondays, but Tuesdays. I'm not going to drive because for some reason Tuesdays are dead, just dead. So one other thing I wanted to tell you about was an interesting ride that I had yesterday. This is Uber Stories, so what goes on in the back seat. I was about to wrap up my day, and I got one more ping, and I was like, oh, okay, greedy, I'll take it. So, and I noticed it was from whatever, the Four Horsemen's Ale House or something down in the Central West End. I was like, oh shit, here we go. So sure enough, I pick this guy up, and he's got two girls with him. Clearly they're hookers. And I, say what you want, but it's like, you can tell. You can tell these are pros. By the way they dress, by the way they smell, by the way they talk, and by the way they act, and by the way he's acting with them. This isn't his girlfriend. So they pile in, and he says, "Oh, my friend's coming too," and I'm literally double parked on the middle of a busy street in the loop. And he says, "Oh, my friend's going down the other way. Do a U-turn and go pick him up." And I'm like, good grief, here we go. So I look around, and it's like, okay, it seems safe to do a U-turn. So I do a U-turn, notice there's a cop sitting right there, and I was like, oh, Jesus, if he pulls me over, we're in trouble. But the cop didn't pull me over. But I pick his friend up, doing, again, another double park in the middle of the street, and get his friend in the car. And these guys proceed to, start talking about how they're going to the whatever hotel and smoke cigars and blah, 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 and talking about, sexual things and stuff like this, and how much fun they're going to have. And I'm just kind of just driving, eyes on the road. And they keep trying to rope me into the conversation and saying things like, well, what does the everyman think? Like I'm some guy that all I do is drive for Uber. And they keep trying to rope me in, and I'm just like not having it. I don't know about that. That's a great deflector. So I'm just batting this down over and over and over. And when we get to the place to drop him off, he says, so you want to come in with us? She can get a girlfriend for you. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I said, no, thank you. I got to keep driving here. Got to keep busy, and kept going. This is the stuff that makes Uber A, interesting, and B, ew. So I'm not too pleased about that. But it's a story to tell. Now here's another story I'm going to tell you that I'm not particularly happy about. I went to Walmart. I've got a center console down here. This thing right here is my console, and on this side of it, the back side, notice there's two cup holders that face the passengers. I've got one of them with my Uber referral cards in it, so they can pull those out and take a few as they need. But there's down here there's a 12-volt plug where you can plug something in. Like I've got a charger right there that I plug my phone into. And so it's got a 12-volt plug on it, and I thought, okay, it might be nice to put a little adapter there with a couple of USB ports, two USB ports that are high-speed USB 3 ports, and let people charge their phones if they want. And I've got a couple of cables that I keep in the center console here, so depending on what kind of phone they have, I can give them the appropriate cord. Well, I plug it in that morning, drive around, and this was the day I had the $3 day, really, or not even $3 day. I think it was 2 passengers, and it was a really slow day, like maybe $10 or something I made that day. And that was it, only 2 passengers. But at the end of the day, I'm doing some spot vacuuming, and I notice the adapter's gone. One of these 2 pricks stole my adapter. Like, really? $15 at Walmart for this thing? And they stole it. And that just, wow. This is my car. I'm clearly, not somebody, I'm driving for Uber, so I'm clearly not rolling in the cash here. But for someone to steal a $15 adapter, I hope you really needed it, And so, I post often in the Reddit forums for Uber drivers. It's r/Uber drivers. And I posted about this, got a ton of responses on it of people saying, oh yeah, same thing happened to me. And I said, I carry a thing here with waters and gum and stuff in it. And it's, I ask people when they come in, would you like a water or gum or anything like that? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But some people buy something that they hang on the back of their seat that just has it all open back there with Kleenex and water and gum and treats and cookies and candies and all sorts of shit. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. If people are stealing stuff out of the back of my seat here, I'm going to keep everything up front. And I might take away the gum, because it just seems to me like, somebody's going to chew the gum and stick it on my seat or something like that. I don't know what kind of animals they are out here, but it's like, that's just disgusting to me. But yeah, I might even take away the snacks and the waters if it gets to the point of I find water jugs, on the floor in the back, and spills and stuff like this. It's like, come on, people. If you're a passenger in an Uber car, realize this: it's not a cab. It's not my company car. It's my car. I take pride in it. I take care of it. The reason it's so clean and nice is because I take care of it. And that's part of the experience of an Uber, is you want to go to, point A to point B in a nice, clean car. Okay. Well, here it is. And if you decide to screw that up and, knife my seats or stick gum in the floorboard or whatever, then that's going to be on you, and you won't have Uber rides anymore. So think about that, next time you're in somebody else's vehicle. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. A couple of Uber stories for you, so I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, I'll keep track of the numbers and keep sharing them with you. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.